When Bob Weinman was born in New Jersey, the nurses were astonished when his crying reminded them of the Queen of the Night's aria. It turned out that his parents had been to see the Magic Flute several weeks before. Bob's father was an avid opera lover, and with those huge 78 RPM record albums all over the living room, Bob's first words were La Donna Mobile. When he was 10, they went to the Met for his first live opera. And here is the actual program from that eventful day. At Brooklyn Tech High School, he and his pals would go into the city and climb those 6 flights of stairs to get to the family circle, where the tickets were $2. He and his friends would argue as to who was better, Callas or Tebaldi, but they all agreed that their favorite tenor was Richard Tucker, who was also their cantor at the Brooklyn Jewish Center. He went off to college in Ithaca, New York, but unfortunately there were no opera houses in Ithaca. In grad school at Caltech, and this was before LA Opera existed, there were many visiting opera companies who played at the Shrine Auditorium. Now, one of his professors brought him up to Santa Barbara, and that day was life-changing. His first time in Santa Barbara, his first masterclass with Lottie Lehman, no less, and his first artichoke at the Coral Casino. Bob spent his entire career at Northrop, designing guidance systems for the MX missile and the B-2 bomber. When he retired, he eventually moved to Santa Barbara, and in 2004 began a new career as a supernumerary at Opera Santa Barbara, thanks to the backing of Joan Rutkowski. When she handed him a check for $100, he was no longer just a fan, but also a professional. A sailor in Italiana Algeri, a henchman of Scarpia in Tosca, a guard in Rigoletto, and a waiter at the Café Momus. In Cavalleria, he helped carry a statue of the Virgin Mary, and in Elixir of Love, helped Dulcamara sell the fake love potion. But his great triumph was as Lilas Pascha in Carmen. He actually had spoken words, not very many, and got a very nice review in the paper. Most recently, he was a notary in Daughter of the Regiment, opposite Marilyn Gilbert. Bob wants everyone to love opera, and he has given talks about opera in many places, including New York, Newport Beach, and that was at a dental convention, by the way, and in Wuhan, China. Here in Santa Barbara, he's given talks for Opera Santa Barbara, the Music Academy, newcomers, and visitors. Sometimes the audiences were less than were hoped for. He creates a preview video for each Opera Santa Barbara performance, which all the audience members receive. Bob has indeed been a board member at Opera Santa Barbara since 2016. Thanks to Costis, we have this wonderful, flourishing opera company of our own. When Bob was up there at the old Met in those $2 seats, he would look down at those $6 orchestra seats, never dreaming he would one day be sitting down there and in the first row to boot. Bob, of course, never dreamed that something like today would ever come to pass. Many people have helped make all this happen, but indeed it is my father that gets the most thanks and the most credit.